So if you can see this on the camera, I have just literally run across it twice within the seam allowance, if I know the 1/4 inch, just to hold it in place, so I've got nothing else holding it in place, which also holds my seam allowance together at the same time. So that's all I need to do for that, keeping everything else together. Alright. Our next difficult thing, I have sewed that tag onto there, 1/8 of an inch, okay, on the seam line. We just talked about that before. Still pinned, well, still clipped, so it's all together. The next thing is, we need to get this completed stocking inside this lining. Now, ta'en easy, ta'en easy, ta'en easy, ta'en easy. Now, so this is me. This is what I would do. You could try and force it in whatever way you want, but I'm going back to my dear old mum, yeah, and how she used to do things for me, and again how I did things. That's the bit we're going to sew up in the end, and how I used to do things for my children when they were learning to get dressed. And I'm probably preaching to the choir, because all of us mums probably did this, but I just want you to look at it in a sewing point of view now. Right, so what did we do? Once we ironed, well, or paired up the socks, what did we do? We did it inside out, but this time we're doing it the right way around, because I want it inside out. And then we took the toe of the foot, didn't we? We took the toe like this, and we used to pair them up with the toe pushed in, so that the children could put their feet into it, put their toes into it, and then just put it back over themselves. Well, that's what mine did, because that's how I did it. So, in the same way, pretending this is one of my kiddies' toes. Yeah. They push their toes into the sock, and then they were able to reach down and grab the toe, and then pull. Just pull. Till it fitted and it felt nice. They were just able to pull their socks up, which in their respect would have been the right way round. In our respects, we want it to be the wrong way round. But that's how my children used to do it, and that's how I'm doing it now. And then I'm taking all layers, and shaking it and pulling it, and matching seams now again with my clips, tucking my little pulling it up and tucking my little hook in, my little tie-in. Oh, you could open this up, but I'm not going to bother, because no one's going to know, right? So having got, give it a shake, having got that up, now the middle bits, I can match tops. Now I can match tops with my clip. See that? Yeah? So that's, and now, more or less, play with it a bit, more or less, that fits, and that's how we would do it. I know I'm talking about putting kids' socks on, but it works with sewing too. Alright then, moving back to the machine. Now, remember, and we made, oh, this is the other one that I keep all my bits in for PK. This is the one that we made to match the sewing machine, the top stitcher. What's it called? Come on, Sam, what's it called? Oh, yeah, my memory goes. Sewing machine and lost it, whatever that machine is called as well. Then we made these sorts of baskets. We made, well, this one is not as sturdy as that one because that's foam and this is not. So we made a couple of baskets, and then we also made all within the same range this weighted pin cushion plus thread basket to go with it. Yeah, it's all part of the same range. Let's move that away now because I don't need it. That's got crushed walnuts in it. Keep the pin sharp. Move that out. Well, no, I'll probably keep it there, so I need to do it. Right, okay. Where are I? The top sit. No, it's going to come to me in a minute. What the hell? Overlocker. We made the sewing machine and the overlocker cover. I've got a few more accessories actually to make within this range. You know, I'm doing it all out the same fabric because I got a bit of OCD, so I want things to match. But however, let's move on now. So now we've managed to get our stocking all tied up under here. Now, so what do I need to say to you? I've still got, wake up machine, I've still got my 1/2 inch tape down so that I can work against this 1/2 inch. I would rather work with the flat bed of the machine in as much as, if my hands aren't in the way, in as much as this way round. Now, some people like to work the other way round. They like to pull and they like to move everything out of the way and get the top of it down like that. Well, you do whatever you think is fit, but I'm just telling you from, you know, an old sausage, having made loads of handbags, loads of this, loads of that, where you've got things fit inside something else. The best way to do it is to have whatever you're working on the flatbed of the machine. Okay, and I'll just put my foot down because that helps me. I can now take out that clip. I got the edge of it running against my tape, so I know I got a 1/2 inch, let's move it, it's like 1/2 inch seam going on. Now you might think to yourself, well, why do you want a 1/2 inch seam? Well, because originally when I put the applique on, as we did quite a few steps ago, that's what I took into account, and that's how I thought it would be. Now, you don't have to. You can do a 1/4 inch seam. You know, this is by the seat of your pants. Do whatever you want. But I'm working on a 1/2 inch seam because that's how I planned it. If I change it now, I might be disappointed. So that's how I'm going to go. Right, so 3 stitches forward, 3 stitches back, 2.40 on my stitch length, and then just continue, keeping my edge against my line of tape. So I'm keeping my 1/2 inch. As I go around, I'm hoping that my hands aren't too much in front of what you can see. But as I go around, I'm going to twist the sod, right? Now I'm getting to this bit, I'm taking my clip off, I'm keeping this edge, yeah? Now, some of you, I gotta admit, like, I got a really good machine, right? So I have to admit, at this stage, if you were using, how can I best put this? If you were using a machine that is not well known, and maybe not the best thing that you could, I don't want it to sound bad. If you were using a lower end branded machine, you probably wouldn't go through, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 widths of 5 layers of material here. Then you would probably need to put a walking foot on to do this. Enough said about that. Right. So I'm just continuing round as far as comfortable. Then I am manipulating the entire thing. It's going up in the air, doing whatever it likes, whatever. But I am manipulating the entire thing. So I've still got it on the flat bed of the machine, keeping it against my tape. So I know I'm doing a 1/2 inch. So it's not going to end up too wonky. Take that out now. Can you see? Right, are my hands in the way? I don't know. I'm doing my best. I'm still manipulating the fabric, still pulling it round, still keeping it flat against this seam, and I got about 6 stitches to go. Right, now I've met up with my original start place, so I will go, what's that, about 8 or 9 stitches and cut. Because if you overlock the stitches behind, yeah, they won't pull out, they won't come out. So now I finished doing the entire bits. I don't know whether to do it here or there. No, I'm going to go back over to the table again because it's easier. Alright, so we just finished this, and yet again, although I did a 1/2 inch seam, I don't need all of that in my seam. So I'm just going to cut in halfway with this. My Ujit, I'm going the wrong way. These are my pinking shears, and I am just going to cut. Well, obviously I am not going anywhere near the stitching, and this is when it gets, I'll try and keep it down so you can see it on the camera. It gets tough on the seam because there's an awful lot of fabric, but I'm keeping away from my stitches just so I don't have all this bulk all turning in at the same time. I'm getting tired now, my back is hurting, and I know because my son has told me, Mum, when you get tired you start to slur. These are my problems. Anyway, there we go. Right, so getting rid of, without cutting going, too close to my stitches, turn that out. Next thing I need to do, and this is why we have left a hole always say measure your hand. We have left a hole big enough to get your hands through, because what we need to do now is to put our hand into the stocking. See, worm your hand in, because the bit we want, right down there at the bottom. So we need to grab the bottom to bring out, carefully, we need to bring out all of the stocking and tip it out, turn it out, whatever way you can. Just be careful with it, and obviously get to a certain stage where you can then put your hand in, grab the bottom of the stock and bring that through as well. Yeah, okay. Now, so we got a double-sided stocking now, but now what do we need to do? We need to go back to our turning tool, go into this gap that we've made, go to the bottom, using our hands and the turning tool as best as you can, just poke out those seams back, and there's a lot going on here, isn't there? And bring it together and poke out with your turning tool, and especially this little edge here, until it's all nice and all straight. Okay, that's not as straight as it could be, but it's not a lot of worry, because that's going to all get folded back in here in a minute. Any odd things you've got, get rid of it. Our next job, before we turn it into the stocking, is come back to this piece that we made, and this is why we made it bigger, so that, forget, you know, it may have pulled a bit, as mine has. It may have pulled a little bit. Get your pins. I've lost mine, they've all gone. Get, or, yeah, I was going to say clips, or get a pin, bring it back to where you want it, and pin it. You know, this is a time for you to relax, just relax, and just roll the material to one side meets the other. Oh Christ, that's got to go in the bin. That's it, isn't it, that pin? So that once, and then like you got pokey bits like that. That's not good. So, well, push the pokey bits in, and then make it the best you can, right? And what I always try and do, so that I know where I am under the needle, look at that, I have stretched, that hole is stretched. Where's that pin? This hole I've stretched, even though I did go back and forth, and you see I'm using the pin to put the threads down. I need to start right there. Now, we cut it here, but I need to go back to there, because I can see that I had threads to driving me nuts. And the same way on this edge, you see I got threads, they have pulled, because we pulled everything through, so they have pulled as well. So using the pin, I will just, best as I can, push them in. Oh, these are very short. Push them in and under, and then take a bit that I knew the sewn and pin it. So from those 2 points, that's where I need to sew it. Now, if you're a hand sewer, if you're one of those people who think, oh, well, it's great, I can, yes, you can. You could take a needle and you can slip stitch all of that, or ladder stitch all of that, and nobody would know you ever sewn it. I do that on special things, but I don't do it on something like this, which is only coming out like, once a year. So now I'll take that to my machine, and from that pin to that pin, I'll do an 1/8 inch seam to just close that off. Let me just show you now under the camera, and I'm hoping you can see this. I put this back through the machine from pin to pin, and I have done the slimmest. If I can bring this up so that the camera can focus on it. Yeah, I have done the slimmest of closure stitch on that. No, it's not as neat as if you hand stitched it, it'd be invisible. But I don't know, you have to take a view. How many people do you know are going to go and look at your stocking and then pull the lining out and go, oh, how did you close it up then, love? Not many, so it really doesn't matter, does it?
So basically, the next thing you need to do is obviously stuff the lining into the interior of the stocking, and hopefully it will end up looking like this. If you've enjoyed this, oh, I must say, this does say yo Grumpy Christmas because that's what he is. But if you've enjoyed this, then I hope you will subscribe to the channel, and I hope you will join Crafty So and So's on Facebook. It's that name to look for. And I hope you all have a Merry Christmas.